mood, baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here,
Black versus the Board of Education.
'cause we came here, rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we came here, rid of us now. And you know that we don't ever go to what you know.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
Welcome to another episode of Black versus the Board of Education. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Miss Laureen, and I am the captain of the ship. And as usual, we're bringing some conversations that actually need to be had in our community. Today, we're talking beyond the bus, building wealth and wisdom with Mrs. Karen Dugas. We're gonna call her Karen because that's what she like, and not to be confused with the privileged one. Okay. But before we get to that, I just want to tell y'all, like, I just came back from a conference in Long Beach, right? And it was the Equity and Wellness Conference that the Los Angeles Office of Education, LACO, Los Angeles County Office of Education. And when I tell you, I found so many reasons to be proud of the work that we do here. Shout out to Bettina Love, who was one of the keynote speakers. Shout out to Dr. Tyrone Howard, who has been a co-author on some of the reports that we use in our advocacy to go at school districts, because we believe that it's time for folks to start telling the truth. We talked about Brown versus the Board of Education and how that really didn't turn out the way that we may have hoped. And what I found so fascinating, I had never heard it before. And again, we're at these conferences to learn. I never knew that there were a group of teachers who were protesting the NAACP that was trying to get this Brown versus the Board of Education case to pass. They did not want to desegregate schools. But see, because we don't have it in our history books, we're not really told of the actual things that happen to place an infrastructure in place for our students to be given the love, care, compassion, and concern, and to actually be exposed to representation, which is very, very crucial. So just shout out to the organizers of the LACO Equity and Wellness Conference. Shout out to every guest speaker, but I think I'm just a huge fan of those two doctors, Dr. Tyrone Howard and Dr. Bettina Love. And if you don't have their books, please get on audio books or buy them from Amazon or their websites. Punished for Dreaming was one of them. That's Dr. Bettina Love, as well as We Want to Do More Than Just Survive, or We Want to Do More Than Survive. That's also Dr. Bettina Love. And then Dr. Tyrone Howard, his new book is called Equity Now. So shout out to them and just the vast experience that they bring to the table. And the main theme that came out of that is we have too many people in our schools that have access to our children who really don't like them. And until we start having that conversation and we really start taking the adults to task, a lot of times we want to hold the children responsible, but the adults never get the same smoke. And so shout out to us for holding the line for the kids out here in the community. So with that, I'm going to pass it to one of my co-hosts. He's going to introduce himself, followed by my other co-host, and then we're going to bring Miss Karen on stage, and we're going to get into the discussion. So go ahead.
How you doing, Miss Karen? My name is Mr. Fox. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed.
Happy Monday. Hi, Miss Karen. This is James from BYLP. Happy to be here. Happy to see you.
And we're happy to have her. And I know, like, it's always weird when people get to talk about you, but I'm going to just talk about her based on what she sent me. This week, we're talking about money moves and mindset shifts with educator and entrepreneur, Mrs. Karen Dugas. For more than 20 years, Mrs. Dugas, Karen, has been teaching across public, private, and post-secondary schools, helping students not only learn, but level up. As founder of Above the Limit LLC, she's created a learning experience that's engaging, personalized, and proven to help students succeed. Her College Brown cohort has helped families secure millions in scholarships, opening doors to college without the heavy weight of student debt. Through her nonprofit, Beyond the Bus Foundation, Karen takes it even further, hosting financial literacy workshops and a 1 week summer camp where teens learn to treat money talks as lessons in wealth habits and personal growth. We're diving into how she's changing the game for families, what it takes to make early education or to make education truly equitable, and why the conversation about wealth must start early, right at the kitchen table. So bring my girl online because she and we actually go way back. For some of y'all who know, I used to take my whole staff out to Lafayette for Passover week. And during Passover week, we got to tell them what we do here in California through BYLP. And I linked up with my sister who also does things in education. So, Miss Karen, can you just introduce yourself? And I know some things about you, but especially those grandbabies that you love so much. And you
Yes.
and you just had a birthday because I be on
Mhm.
Facebook, y'all. I know all of that good stuff, but tell us something about you, and we'll just jump into the conversation.
All right. Thank you guys for having me here, Lorene. I love you so much.
I
Thank
love you
you.
back.
Definitely a divine connection when we met. And I remember at Passover, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, our good friend Shirley said, "You need to go to that table over there." And you did have your whole staff. And I think it was the energy of your team. And they were young. They were a young team. And just
Mhm.
the energy that exuded from your table. I knew I had to meet you guys. And I think every time you come to town, we've gotten together some kind of way for
Absolutely.
lunch or something like that, or dinner. It is my good pleasure to be here with your team and talk about all things money and education.
We love that, and we welcome you into this space. You've been in classrooms for over 2 decades. What's kept you passionate about teaching all these years?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? Because I asked the Lord, my children, I have 6 children, everybody. I have 6 adult kids. I
Girl,
have
where?
2 grandkids. My children are 23 to 28 years old. I have 2 1-year-old grandbabies. And I've always taught in the high school sector. And I said, if I'm still passionate about high school kids after my own children have left the house, then this is something that I'm called to do.
Mhm.
Um, I believe that youth, especially high school teenagers, need direction to make informed decisions about their future. And a lot of times they really need to be heard first.
Mhm.
You'd be surprised how many teenagers are being told which direction to go into, are not receiving any kind of instruction or guidance at
Mm.
all. And when we sit down at the table to have a conversation, they have dreams and they have goals, but they don't really know how to go and move in that direction. So I just love watching the light bulb go off in them and watching them get set off on a path to success.
I love that. And, I'm listening to you and you're talking about if you're still passionate, right? So that means there was a level of passion first with your own
Yes.
children, but being still
Mhm.
passionate. What made you say, I can do more and start above the limit LLC?
Yes. Guidance counselors in schools have a heavy load, and I don't know what it was like when you guys were in school. When I was in high school, my guidance counselor took me by the hand and was like, hey, you need to apply to this college, or, have you looked into studying this or this major? But guidance counselors now, they're bogged down with a lot more paperwork, a lot more demands from the school board system, and less counseling, I
Mhm.
guess. Um, and I remember a parent reached out to me. Her daughter had a 4.0 GPA. She had never taken the ACT yet. She was a senior. And the mom was like, I didn't go to college. I have no idea what to do, but I want the best outcome for my daughter. And we took her by the hand and walked her through practicing for the ACT. She ended up making a 27 on the ACT. She now has her master's degree and is in education right now. Um, that's a complete success story. Her daughter was, I think, the first in her family to graduate college.
Mm.
And I'm just grateful, her mom reached out to me to help her. And we just decided we can redo this over and over again, just be a resource for families.
I love it.
I love it too. It's I'm gonna hammer you down with a question though right now, because
Hmm.
I be in a lot of rooms. Financial literacy is one of the new buzzwords,
Hmm.
and in these financial literacy things, I'm starting to notice in the rooms they come in the room and they speak very well. But
Hmm.
what I'm starting to notice, what happens is they come in the room and you're speaking to people about financial literacy, about people who've never had no money before in their life,
Mm.
Real
and you
talk.
talking and you telling and they telling them, hey, you got to get 30K for this, and then you got to get this other job for that, and these kids they can't even save up for tennis shoes correctly. So,
Mm-mm.
within that being said, I heard you say something that was very key because it was the only way I noticed the elephant in the room. You said you got to listen to them in order to understand what their financial literacy is. So when I would leave out the room, I would ask these kids, what was they talking about? Because I myself wanted the information myself. I was hoping the younger generation could break it down for me. And they
Right?
told me, man, I don't know. I came here looking for a food voucher.
Wow.
I'm unsure how this goes, but do you guys serve food? I'll be like, well,
Hmm.
you come to our program. But when you're listening, when you walk in the room and you're saying, hey, I'm going to put on this seminar for financial literacy, what are you listening for in the room to be able to make sure that you're giving, as you said, the individual a unique perspective of what their financial literacy looks like?
This is good. I'm a dreamer, and I believe that all kids have this level of imagination that has not been tapped into.
Mm.
And one of the first things I ask students when I meet them is imagine yourself 5 years from now. And for most kids, 5 years from now is 21, 22 years old. And I ask them, where are you living? Are you living at home with your mama? Are you living, in an apartment? Or do you have a roommate? Do you have a family? What are you driving? I think it's to get them to think just a little bit forward. And before we even talk about money, we talk about what's on their mind. What do they think about when it comes down to their future? And before I mention anything about money, I ask them, how much money do you see in your bank account? Some people don't even have an idea what that is.
Hmm.
But then I ask them, how did you get that money? And they stop and pause and think. Because in order for you to get that money, you have to have an exchange of something, a skill, a resource. What's in your hands? Pastor Omar would always say that. What's in your hands? What is your gifting? What do you do that you enjoy doing? What is something that people ask you to do that they may not ask anybody else? Are you a good listener? Do your friends call on you for advice? And then we kind of lead into um, not even how they can make money in the future, but how can you use that skill set now to do an exchange? I believe a lot of us have businesses inside of us. God has gifted all of us with solutions to a problem, like Dr. Miles Monroe says, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's to get those kids to think on that level. So it starts with the conversation just about what they think about. Um, we do a budgeting simulation. It's a real life. I give them cards that has a career on it, from anywhere from a truck driver to CEO of a company, to a teacher, human resource uh, person. It's about 40 different cards I pass out. And it tells them how many kids they have, how much money they make, credit card debt, student loan debt, and they have to
Mm.
budget it. And it is eye-opening. These kids are trying to sell, and they also have families, if they're married or single, how many kids they have. And
That sounds like the
everybody,
game of life.
it
Is that what you're
is.
doing? Okay.
That's exactly, it's not the game, it's not that specifically,
Right.
but it's a simulation of it. And Laureen, you'd be so surprised the reality check that sits with them.
Mm.
Like, this is hard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have enough money. And by the time we finish, and some of them, we have to make decisions. along the way. If you don't have enough money for groceries, you might have to, what you had budgeted for savings, you might have to pull some of that out. So it's a reality check for them. But
Mm.
what I love about it, Mr. Fox, is the decision making that comes along the way. I think financial literacy, decision making is the root of it. We are in the financial situations that we are, no matter if we're struggling or if we're overflowing in finances, because of the choices that we make. And some of us just are not aware of what's a good financial choice and what's a not so good financial choice because we're not thinking about the future outcome of it.
Mm.
Mm.
Mr. James.
So I have a quick question. So, of the students that you're teaching financial literacy, are you noticing a change in their own individual families? And because what you teach is so great, I'm curious if those students are even re-educating their parents. You know, because the parents has to look for a lot of things, right? You know, we live in a world where SNAP is going away
Yeah,
temporarily. You know, people are losing their jobs, so
Inflation is up.
yeah,
inflation is up. So I'm curious if you've seen success when the student goes back to the parent and they have like their own thing. Like, are you getting any results?
yeah,
You getting any feedback
yeah.
from families saying like, yeah, this actually helped me as a parent. You know, so
Absolutely. Tell me your name one more time.
James.
James. And I have a son named James. I love that question, James. Um, yes. So we do a week-long financial literacy camp where for teenagers 14 to 18, like 9th to 12th graders, or ninth up until first year to high school graduates, because we have it in the summer. So some of our students have just graduated high school.
Mm,
And their parents signed them up for this camp. And I asked them on Monday, how many of you wanted to be here? Nobody raises their hands. How many of you your parents made you come? Everybody raises their hand. And they're salty. It's 9 o'clock on a Monday morning in July. Um, but by the end of Monday, they're happy that they were there. And by Friday, they want the camp to be extended. But one of the most rewarding parts of that, James, is by day two, parents start calling and emailing me saying, my child is sitting here teaching me about a budget or teaching me about investing in stocks because they are actually having a conversation. And so now parents are curious about it. We
mhm,
do have a parent component of our financial literacy camp where we do invite community banks to come in and
okay,
have seminars
Mhm.
for our parents at the same time the kids are in the financial literacy camp. I do believe money talks is what I call them. Money talks, um, I don't know, are critical for families.
mhm,
Um, a lot of parents want to hide their financial situation from their parents, but then you just miss out on this great
yeah,
teaching opportunity for your kids. And I truly believe it changed the dynamic of my own family, which is how it got started. I was 40 plus years old with no savings, no retirement.
mhm,
Um, I just had made some really bad decisions with 6 kids. And I said, God, is it too late for me? And he said, no, it's not too late. And as I began to digest everything I could, the budgetista,
mhm,
everything I could about finances, I began to teach my kids who were in high school, and I had a couple in college at
mhm,
the time. And we began to talk about credit scores and savings accounts and retirement plans. And the ones who were in college, when they got their refund check, they could not spend their money until they made a budget. And they had to email it to me because 3 of my boys went to LSU, but they shared a condo my sister owned. And baby, I need you to make this money stretch.
mhm,
Y'all can't blow this money because you can't call home. I didn't have it, right?
Um,
To help them out.
mhm,
Um, So money talks. And so one of my sons is a doctor. One is a financial, he's a chiropractor. One is a financial analyst for Goldman Sachs. One is a financial coach at Dallas College. We have
Come
a
on,
truck
mama.
driver, but I'm
Come
saying
on,
it's
mama.
glory to
Yes.
God, okay?
Come on.
But it started with money talks. Like it just
Yeah,
started with conversations.
yeah,
And then I would tell them when they met their friends, we would talk about credit and things like that. And if their friends didn't know, I looked at my sons and said, "Why your friend don't know?
yeah,
Because you need to share what you know
Mhm.
with your friends."
I think that is amazing.
yeah.
Why don't you think financial literacy is standard, is a standard part of education? Like why do you think we got
Mm.
away from that? Like why don't we make it more of a part of the curriculum?
You know what? That's a really good question, Lorraine. I wish I had the answer to. Unfortunately, the school system, it's not a whole lot of relevant education, if I can say that.
Yes, you can.
I
You can say whatever you want. You on Black versus the Board of
Uh,
Education.
I do believe like financial literacy trumps algebra and geometry every time. And look, I'm a math girl. That's what I come up teaching: algebra, geometry, algebra 2. And while I was teaching it, I was like, these kids are not gonna remember nothing I say when they leave this class. Because it wasn't relevant. It
Mm,
wasn't life. And I think the generation these kids are in, they're looking for something real and
mm,
authentic. You have teenagers making six figures on, TikTok.
and
Um,
strange and
you know what
mhm.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're making money. I'm meeting young entrepreneurs and 10 years old. They're making money. So we need to have this conversation now. My youngest son started a lawn care service, car wash service, um, car wash service at 15 years old, him and his best friend. And his best friend had a truck. And they drove around Lafayette washing people's cars, and they made a ton of money for their age. They blew it all, of course, as
Because
much
they
as
were
I
supposed to, because they
as
didn't
much
have
as
that
I tried
literacy
to
yet.
like, you might want to invest in this and really invest in this, but they felt what it was like to have money. And then when they got their real jobs, they had they had got the blowing the money out of their system, and
Mhm.
they were able to manage it well based on the conversations we had. You'd be surprised how many teenagers have not handled cash money. They
Mhm.
don't know what it feels like. They don't know how to count it. And that was another reason to have the camp as well.
And I just want to call your attention to the comment that's on the screen right now. Do we really want
Mhm.
these schools talking to our kids about the money game? Not in America, not Black kids. We need to do more of what you are doing in our communities. Thank you for your service. And I think that is
Wow,
so
thank you for that.
powerful to uplift you in this moment because, again, the way that you're putting it, a lot of times I hear people say, I do financial literacy programs, I do financial literacy workshops, right?
Mhm.
But I don't think I've ever heard anybody break it down like you just did right now, and
Yeah.
about making it real to the kids that we're serving. So, shout out to you for doing that. And Mr. Fox, you got a question? I'm assuming.
Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed that like you said, we walk in a lot of places and a lot of people talk about financial literacy, but then they end up saying, buy this, buy this
Mm.
for me, or they talk about their friend's company. But one thing I started to realize about financial literacy, I'm a little ignorant myself in this area. I'm one of the ones that's I registered to your story. Uh, if you don't know nothing about financial literacy, it seems that you're going to go down a rabbit hole. Meaning,
Mm.
I didn't know nothing about financial literacy when it started out. So then we didn't know what bank to go to. What does it
Right.
mean when it says you're gonna have a 0 point something savings this and what it means if you're gonna have a 5% savings over there. And the people when they come in these rooms, like I said, they do this financial literacy and they like come work
Yeah.
over here at this bank and we're gonna give you this and kind of find out the point cent of which you said I was gonna be saving turned out and I'm not, how am I in debt when I was supposed when this is a checking account? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So what do you do for people when you come in the room and they come in the room negative, knowing financial literacy, meaning they were just like yourself or just like I. They're 40 years old. They didn't have
Mhm.
a 401k plan. They didn't know nothing about it.
And still don't have one.
They still don't have one. And
Yeah.
nobody educated them. And it's not that they stupid.
Right.
Never even thought to have. They thought because I'm going to work every day and I'm paying my bills, I'm doing the right thing. So they push
Exactly.
to this financial literacy, and people think I'm going to work, so I know that I'm good for this. I'm going to work. I can secure a paycheck, but that's not all it takes. It's the right
Yeah.
investments, the right bank, the right percent, the right thing. How do you walk people along to that?
That's so good. I've done some coaching with families, couples, husband and wife, single moms. Number one, it takes a level of vulnerability to ad admit, like, you know what, I'm this age and I have no idea how to save money, how to budget, about investing. So it's always lead with my story to
Mm.
make it a safe space.
Hmm.
Like we're gonna get in the real. I'm gonna get in your business. I'm gonna get in your bank account. We're gonna talk about the real. You'd be surprised, Mr. Fox, that student families don't really look at their money closely. So they're swiping, they're spending, they're afraid to look at the bank account because it might be in the negative. Or, they're waiting for this money to come in. They spent that money before it came in. Um, they know bills are coming in. Um, and some of them go in the negative to get the things that they need for their kids.
Yeah.
So it comes to a level of transparency. I think it's a real to provide a safe space for them to be honest with where they are. And what's another thing I lead with, you guys, is that we all have money impressions, money imprints. The way I deal with money is a result of what I seen my mom and my dad deal with money. The way you deal with money is a result of how you dealt with your mom or your dad or your grandmother deal with money. And for the people who are savers, they had that example. And then there's some people, my mom gambled it all. And so they picked up that habit. Or their mom was a shopper and always spent the money. They never had enough. So those families either become shoppers, that person, or they become hoarders of money. They're scared to spend it. So it's a psychological part of it as well.
Mm.
But it comes down to knowing yourself and how you deal with money. Are you an emotional spender?
Yep.
Right? Do you
Hmm.
spend? And one thing I do, every time I get paid, I still do that. Babe, I'm taking myself out to eat. I'm gonna get a steak,
Come on,
or
baby. You heard it.
Yeah, that's real.
because I work for this money, and
That's
it
right.
doesn't to me it doesn't matter the cost of the bill, but that's my choice. That's my reward for how I spend my money. Now, what it should be, right? The first thing that you do with your money, you pay your future self. You should have money that is automatically drafted out into a savings or to a Roth IRA. Something that money is going to a future account that is earning more interest than that 0.1% at the bank. Now, if that 0.1% is a start for you, transfer that money to savings immediately. Set it on automated draft. You could do that through your bank app. You develop the habit. Financial literacy is all about decision making and
Mhm.
it's all about habits. Just like tithing, if you're a believer, you develop the habit of giving 10% to the church and to where like that money you're not counting it anymore. I
Hmm.
set this apart for the Lord and for his work. I'm gonna put my 10% for tithes. I'm gonna put my 10% for savings and I'm gonna manage the 80% best as I can. And that 80% is not going to be managed the same way every month. Why? Because we have birthdays, we have holidays, we have vacations. The children need things for school this month that they didn't need last month,
Hmm.
right? And so it's about thinking forward. Like a budget is just a plan, it's just a money plan. Think ahead. Just like we set goals for the week, for the month. Think ahead, and then you can make small steps to reach your goals.
I'm writing my notes down because I think although I'm good at budgeting in my head, I don't think I ever really write things down, and that's a
Mm,
really really bad thing. And I think I don't know if I got that from my mom, but I'm gonna blame it on her. We know how to we know how to budget based on what we know coming in and what we know goes out every month.
yeah.
And then we figure out how to make the rest stretch. However, as I've gotten older, I realized that I love Amazon. Me and
Mm-hmm.
Amazon have this love affair where I'm like, "Look, I don't have to leave the house and I can get what I need to.
Okay.
Sign me up."
And
Uh,
it's on sale. Mm-hmm.
and Shein, I have and Fashion
Mm-hmm.
Nova. I have some issues, but I feel like I'm preparing for my future self because I want to look right when I go into the rooms to ask for more
Mm-hmm.
money, right? So
Mm.
I'm just wondering if you had one thing, and James, you're next. If you had one lesson that every young person should learn about money before they graduate, what would
Mm.
you say that was?
Um, that's a really good question. I think it would be to plan, like to look at your money. You
Mhm.
know, one thing that we've done, what I used to do, what I thought was a budget, was to write the list of my bills for the month. And
Mhm.
I thought that was my budget.
Well, that's what they taught us it was,
That's not a
right?
budget.
Okay.
No, that's not a budget. That's a list of your bills. Okay. Um, a budget is you
That's real.
you wanna but you be surprised a lot of people don't know how much income they have, how much money is coming in. And then they don't know how much money is coming in after taxes. How much
Mhm.
money are you really budgeting, right? So what is the amount of money that's coming in total for the month? What is the amount of money where are you putting that money as it leaves? Um, I have the answer to that question. If teenagers could get in the habit of saving 20% of their income while they don't have a lot of bills,
Right.
they don't have any debt. If you can put aside 20%, right? That's $2, what, off of every $10,
Mhm.
$20 off of every $100. If you can put that aside instead of giving it to Amazon, giving it to Target, giving it to Buffalo Wild Wings, wherever you're
Starbucks.
spending money,
Mhm.
Oh wow!
right?
Don't do that to the wings. How dare you?
Listen, I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings every week.
What wow? What the wings got to do with
That's
financial
where that
literacy?
come
We
from.
need them.
That's my confession, James. That's my
Yeah,
confession.
James.
Um,
Yeah.
don't do that to the wings. Um, but you think about it, because to go out to eat nowadays is you gotta pay for the meal, then you gotta tip. Like you're gonna spend
Yeah.
$20 for one. Can you put that $20 aside first and then plan? If they can get in the habit now, when they're making $200,000, right? A year is not gonna be so strenuous, such a hard thing to do because they would have developed the habit of
Mhm.
doing it. Save their money and look at their money. A challenge I do when I start every financial coaching session is, and y'all might want to do this tonight or tomorrow, pull out your bank app and add up all the money that you spent for October,
Yeah.
October 1st, October 31st, and you make a list for food. You'd be surprised how much money you're spending on food. You make a list of your subscriptions. You have money coming out for subscriptions that you're not even using,
Yeah.
right? One of my sons realized he had $150 a month coming out for subscriptions that he wasn't even using. He had to cancel, cancel, cancel. Put that 150, if you didn't miss it, put it in your savings every month.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But look at your money. And what's that scripture says? Your treasure is where your heart is. Am I saying that right? Um,
Let me look at it. I'll look it up. We go
look
ahead.
it up.
Okay.
But what it means is where you're spending your money, you'll decide, it'll reveal what you really care about, right? If you really, you love your children, you realize you're spending a whole lot of money on your children. And if I could speak to parents about that, you can love your children without giving them everything that they want and without going into debt to give them everything they want. It's okay for children to learn patience and to learn how to earn things, um, and to wait. I think that's a part of, financial literacy too. Like, wait. We're an impulsive generation. We don't have to have it just because you saw it today. You don't have to buy it today, right? Go make a plan for how you're going to save that money to get it. Oh, you want to go to Cabo on vacation? You don't have to swipe the credit card. Save for 6 months to a year and go
Yeah.
on your trip. And when you come back, you're not stressed because you have to pay for the trip all over again,
Right. Right.
So have some patience.
And I believe the scripture you were looking for was Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
That's it. That's it.
I thought she was
Yep.
talking about a different scripture. It's one that goes, "Don't cast your pearls before swine, lest they'll trample all over them."
That's a good one too.
Okay.
That's a good one too.
Mr. James.
And it's to be careful where you're putting your be careful where you're putting your money. The Bible talks a lot about finances. Faithfulness is a fruit of the spirit. And my course that I used to teach was called Faithful in Finances. And God is a rewarder of those who are faithful. If
Mhm.
you, the Bible says this, if you are faithful in managing little,
He
you'll
will
be faithful
give
in
you much.
managing much,
Mhm.
right? So it doesn't matter. Like, a lot of us are out here praying and dreaming, for $1 million, but we can't manage 100. If I put $100 in cash in your hand, and next week I ask where you spent it, how people are, they can't tell you where the money went. If you break $100 bill, it's gone. Where did it
Yeah.
go?
Mhm.
What did you do with it? So be faithful in the little things. Start there and you'll be surprised how much more, and it'll be little increments. You'll be blessed with more and more to manage, but you have to be a good manager. I heard one author say you are the CEO, CFO, Chief Financial Officer of YOU. You
Mm.
are the chief financial officer of YOU. And if somebody had to ask you how you're managing your money, would you be terminated or would you be promoted
Wow.
for how you're managing your own money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's something, to think about. We have to have self-control when it comes down to finances.
Self-control. Mhm.
When I heard her say that, I thought about somebody else said something else to me before I say, "What would you do to somebody if they did to your money what you did to it?"
Come on now, Mr. Fox. You better talk about it.
Mr. James.
So as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking about my own financial literacy background, and I want to ask you this. So how do you keep students, um, parents, teachers, how do you keep them engaged? How do you keep the literacy engaged, like longevity, like in the long term? Because, so like you said, a student can come into the classroom and be educated, but also like may forget. So how do you
Mhm.
keep it engaged, especially if we're talking about like teaching financial literacy in the classroom? There's some teachers who aren't financially literate, and I like to go to
But
well,
they teach you financial literacy?
right, and so I like
Kind of like history, huh?
yeah,
No, I'm just playing. Let me
no,
stop.
yeah.
I'm being shady.
Like to our point, I like to compare it as like it's like a gym teacher who's just overweight. He's telling people to run lines and like lift weights.
Mhm.
Like for students, sometimes it might not be. It's like you're transparent, but it's like I can't connect to like
Yeah.
you because you aren't financially literate. Like it's just sometimes kids could just see everything. Kids can see through things. So I want to know like how do you keep the longevity of the literacy from students who are trying to learn but aren't getting the financial literacy lesson from those who aren't financially literate.
I'll say this, James. I think about financial literacy the way that I do it as planting seeds, right? Especially if I'm working with teenagers. we're not going to see the fruit right away. Some
Mm.
of them don't have jobs. Some of them don't even receive an allowance yet. Last year, I was blessed to teach a financial literacy class from at a high school, a little Christian high school, from November to May. It was ninth graders, okay, um, and they they were upset with me every day, because it was like, what's the point? Why are we doing this?
Mm.
We talked all things insurance, car insurance, health
Mm.
insurance, homeowners insurance. Um, we talked budgeting. We talked about college and career planning, interest rates, right? How to buy a car, how to buy a house. And one of the greatest, the most fun lessons that they did, I had a guest speaker come in for about a month, and we did a investing simulation with stocks.
Mm.
And those kids learned how to invest in stock. They chose 5 to 6 companies. They checked the stock market every time they came in, um, to see how their stocks were doing. They kept a portfolio. We gave cash prizes to the firm. They had firms that earned the most money
Mm.
in that 30 days. But for them to attach learning and then receive a financial reward, I got emails after emails from parents who they had no idea about stocks, the conversations that was happening at the kitchen table. But to answer your question, they're just seeds. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't the only right now the fruit that I see from these seeds is first in my own children. And as these teenagers that I'm teaching, as they go out in the world and come back, that's when I'll see the other fruits. I try my best to be a resource,
Mm.
but a lot of students are not quite ready to to receive the depth of what they're learning. Um, but it's even good. I don't know how many of your team is in college, Miss Laureen, but are just adulting. I should say this, if they're in their 20s. James,
Mhm.
how old are you?
I'm 28.
28. My oldest son is 28, James. And so this is prime time for you to execute, and to develop those habits more than anything. I wish I knew a better answer to that, but I think it's just seeds that I'm sowing right now.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm,
Mm. What's that?
And if you're
mm,
just joining us, you're eavesdropping on a conversation we're having with Miss Karen, the founder and CEO of Above the Limit LLC, as well as what is it, Beyond the Bus Foundation. And I want you to
Mhm.
tell us about Beyond the Bus in a second. But you've seen education from every angle, private,
Mhm.
public, college level. What are we still getting wrong when it comes to preparing our kids for what's next?
Hmm. Uh, we're not we're not talking we're just not. Um,
Mhm.
for a little time, I had a homeschool. For 2 years, I had a homeschool, 8th, ninth, and 10th graders. And the premise of the homeschool was to make education engaging and to make it relevant. Kids are disconnected
Mm.
to the why. We've all asked that question. Why am I learning this? Why am I learning this? Why is history important? Why is geometry important? Why am I learning this biology? I'm not going to be a doctor. Um, in education, I believe we're missing answering that question.
Mhm.
Um, and it has to be deeper than to be prepared for college or to be prepared for the ACT or anything like that. It has to be relevant. I feel like our schools should be full of choices kids make for classes that they're interested in. I think
Facts.
that's another thing. I think also that the curriculum that we have is antiquated.
Mm.
Why are they learning the same things that I learned in school 50 years ago?
mm.
They don't
And
have a question.
the
They don't have
world
an
is
answer for that, sis.
they don't, and the world is changing. Why aren't they teaching? My 14-year-olds learned how to do the stock market in 2 days. Absolutely loved it. Why is that not a course to teach about investing in high school? You know what I mean? Uh, our digital marketing classes. You know what I mean? Like how to run a business. Like, why is that not being taught in schools? I think if we could revamp it, we would talk about all things relevant today. And mind you, I understand the world changes so fast. AI is taking over.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm hoping that in schools they are coming up with solutions to integrate AI into the classroom and to teach kids how to use it ethically. Not ban it from, don't use it to write your paper. They're gonna use it to write their paper, but teach them how to do that ethically. Like we're
Mm,
using it in the workforce. I use AI
Heck
every
yeah,
day.
for
This is
sure.
real life. And if you're gonna get into the job market, you better know how to use it, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's to make the curriculum relevant for their generation.
It's about
Yay, homeschool.
I was shocked when she said, the only time I ever questioned her today is when she said, "Oh, when they're going to integrate into this, you know, they're not going to integrate anything good." In fact, if we want to talk about what they've done to the school systems now, but
Mhm.
I have another hot fire question for you. Now, this question is people hear the answer to this question from different points of view. There's a moral answer to this question. There's a spiritual answer to this question. There's a society answer to this question. There's an egotistical answer to this question, and then there's the I don't know. I don't know what we should do. But many people fall off into this. Here comes the question: financial literacy 101. Young couple going up getting married. Separate bank accounts or same bank account?
separate.
Mm.
Mhm.
Look,
See,
Because we don't know if he can budget
this
yet.
is a hot
No.
topic. That's a hot question. But I see many people they do it, and I see people that do it
mm.
well don't do it because there's many loopholes that fall off into it. But I do know young people they come fresh at that age. They just like, oh, we're gonna do it together. Oh, your money's my money. It's gonna be great. And then you're
This
at
is
what happened.
such a good, Mr. Fox. This is such a good question. Um, I say both, and I say
Mm,
this. I feel like you should have a bill account, right? There's bills that you share, whether that's the house, everything for the house, the mortgage, the lights, everything for the house. That's a newlywed couple to begin to practice. You contribute to that bank account to make sure that everything is taken care of. It's a good practicing ground. Um, Remember that money imprint we talked about
mhm,
before? When you have newlywed couples, or I don't care if they've been married 50 years,
mhm,
but especially if they're newlyweds, they come with their money imprints. And if they have not had that discussion about how they handle money and why they handle money the way that they do, it could be a detriment to their marriage,
mhm,
right? Because you can have a hoarder, right? This person is like, we can't spend it because we need it for the future, or the what if, what if, what if. And
mhm,
then we have the spender who's like, I like it, I want it, give it to me now. I can make the money tomorrow.
mhm,
Some people have that mindset, especially if you're an entrepreneur like me. I'm gonna make the money tomorrow. I'll make the money next week to put it back. You know what I
Put
mean?
it back. Thank you, sis. Thank you. I'm with you. Come on, let's school them real quick.
Yes. But I think for newlyweds, they have to become transparent as they grow to be one. The problem is they're not, as we understand they are one when they're married, but mentally, spiritually, that takes time to truly be one on one accord. But if they're transparent in the way that they're dealing with money, even in their own bank accounts, that'll help them to merge and become one. Um, but they have to know each other, because the person who's
mhm,
a saver can't just trust if they put all of their money in the joint account and they're contributing 70% of the income, and the spender has access to that money, that could ruin their marriage.
Yes,
You see what
ma'am.
I'm
Play that.
saying?
Play that again, for the people in the back.
Yeah.
What did you just say?
So if you have somebody who's like contributing a lot of money to the account, and even if it's a little, because if I'm making a contribution to the accounts and I have an expectation of where that money should go, if you're a spender and you see the money in the account and you don't have any discipline,
Mm,
you're spending that money and that could be detriment to the marriage, right? That could be some serious marital problems. So I do say both.
absolutely.
I say, have your separate accounts, learn to be transparent about what's going on in your separate accounts. But then, start slow with like a home account where you have your bills, whatever y'all paying together, y'all make a contribution to that.
Your face gonna tell me the answer to this next question.
Who said, why you get two questions in
Because
a row?
I have to see her face when I answer this question. Do you loan your sister and brother money? Look, there it goes. No,
Wait, let me
financial institution 101. I'm just starting stuff with you. I appreciate you.
Let me say this though. I'm so happy you asked this question. So I'm blessed. My brother and my sister. If anything, I probably would need the loan. Okay. They're doing well. But I do have friends who have asked me to loan them money. And this is what I say, Mr. Fox. I will give you the money with
Give.
no I will give you the
Mhm.
money. Because if I loan you the money, then when I see you take that trip to New York, and you ain't pay me back.
Man, where you get them shoes from?
That's
Right.
And I see you with eating out at the fancy restaurant with the friends, and you didn't invite me. That's a problem. So I will
Come on
give
now.
you the money, and if you feel like you're in a position to give it back, I'll receive that money. But I don't give loans. I don't do loans. I don't loan money.
I respect your advice. Thank you.
So really
Mhm.
quickly before we get out of here, please tell us about Beyond the Bus Foundation and how families can get involved.
Awesome. So Beyond the Bus Foundation was started, my for-profit. So Beyond the Bus Foundation is a nonprofit. My for-profit is Above the Limit LLC. I own a tutoring company. We tutor students K through 12, all things English, math, reading. Um, but we also, our niche is ACT prep and SAT prep. We help students earn scholarships, merit scholarships, state scholarships by getting their ACT scores up. We have a team of about 10 tutors who are phenomenal. We do virtual and in person. But I've come across, as I started this business, there are families who don't have access to premium tutoring or premium test prep, right? And so I wanted to flip that a little bit. So I started Beyond the Bus Foundation to provide access for those families who say, you know what, Miss Karen, my son, my daughter really needs this, but I really don't have it to pay for these services. And so our community, I have donors, we give scholarships to these kids who have demonstrated academic excellence and a desire to go to college. And we give them scholarships for ACT prep. And because I have a desire to teach financial literacy, and I don't know if y'all know, people who are interested in learning financial literacy may not have the means to pay for workshops or financial literacy services, if that makes any sense. And so our donors help to send me out to offer these workshops. We've taught freshmen orientation classes. We've taught at churches. We've taught in high schools. We've taught in youth organizations all around our
And
city.
so how do we get you here to Sacramento or Elk Grove where we're at?
Just set the dates. I would love, love, love.
No,
I love your
you
team.
set the
I love
dates. Come
you.
on.
Come
Yes,
on,
I
Miss
can
Karen.
come. I
You
can
just
come.
let's work on that because I
And bring
think
all your beautiful blackness with you.
Oh, thank you.
All that
Yes.
education, that beautiful mind, bring that.
Yeah, so
Yes,
let's work
yes.
on that for this summer. Make sure we can
I would
do
love
something
that.
together, collaborate on something. That'd be amazing.
I would
We
love
got
that.
about 5 minutes left, Mr. James. It's on you.
Yes. So, last question for you. Let's say if a young person is just watching this and they're getting really inspired by it, and they have a desire, they got money. What would you say is your favorite? What would you recommend is your favorite bank accounts to either invest in, to save in, um,
Oh,
and what would you say the best bank accounts is for business as well if they're an entrepreneur?
Mm, this is good. All right. So, all right. So, young person with money, you said, James?
Yes.
Uh, Definitely they should have a checking account. I would definitely say have $1,000 saved in a savings account at their local bank, wherever that is. If they have more than that, because they're young, they may not be old enough to invest in a Roth IRA. I believe you might have to be 18 years old to do that. A money market account. Oh, let me say this. You want to invest in a high yield savings account as well. Do you know what that is? So, the difference between a physical bank account and a savings account and a high yield savings account. High yields is usually
Still yield.
yield.
yield,
Oh, yeah,
yield,
Oh, yield. Like
yield.
bank account.
Mm-hmm.
savings account.
So the high yield savings account usually is not a brick and mortar. So like I have Ally, ALLY, and I love that. They have good customer service. I wish I had a referral code because I would have dropped it. But
Well, just get back to me with it. Just get back to me
okay.
with it. Hmm.
Um, but that's how I started. That's how I started. I put some money in there, and the bank might give you 0.1% interest, but a high yield savings account will give you 2, 3, or 4% interest on your money.
Mm.
And you have access to a dashboard. You can watch it grow. Allie also is connected to Roth IRA. I can invest in my stocks in there and watch them grow. Um, but I would definitely say savings accounts. So you have, if you have an emergency, you have money there, but dump your money in a high yield savings account or a money market account where you can see your money growing at a faster rate. And in the meantime, learn about stocks if that's something you're interested in. I always say don't invest in anything you don't know about. I'm not the person to talk to about Bitcoin and all of that. Real estate is something I would love to. I'm ever learning, but I haven't yet took the leap to do it. So I'm not your girl for that. But whatever you're interested in, study it. Study it, read books, listen to podcasts, learn about it, and have faith. Like try it. You know what I mean? Like, and Pastor Omar says the scripture, cast your bread upon many waters. That means you should have multiple streams of income, right?
Hmm.
And that putting your money in a high yield savings account, that's free money. That's growing and all it's doing is sitting there, right?
Mm.
So start there. And start investing early in stocks if you can. That is an easy path to being a millionaire when you're my age or older.
I love it and I love
Thank
you
you.
and
Thank
I
you.
thank you for taking some time today to drop
Thank you very
some
much.
gems on us.
Thank you
Let me
guys.
call
This
you
was fun.
offline because apparently I need some help. I gotta get away from that spirit of Amazon.
We're ever learning. I'm ever learning too, Miss Lorraine. Seriously. But I thank you all for help having me. I love talking about all things finances.
Yes, and we're gonna figure out some dates to get you out here so that we
Yes.
can
Yes.
run at least. Maybe I can talk you into staying for a week. I don't know.
Yes, you can.
Oh, look it! Come on, look at God. Let
Thank
me
you
do
for your
it.
honesty and your transparency.
So let's work on getting you out here for a week, and then we'll figure it out from there. But I appreciate you taking the time. Again, this is Mrs. Karen Dugas. She is the CEO and founder of Above the Limit LLC, as well as the nonprofit Beyond the Bus. If you heard anything that you are interested in today, you make sure you connect with her. She is on Facebook and Instagram.
Instagram.
Facebook. Here they are, the Facebook pages, Above the Limit LLC or Beyond the Bus. Instagram, you can find her at ABL Tutoring. And you can always log into the website www.abovethelimit.org. So with that, we're going to hit y'all with the peace sign. We will see you here next week for 30 PST. We are Black versus the Board of Education. Y'all better get on that bus and get you some education, because the way that this looking with these SNAP benefits and gas prices and these grocery prices, we got some work to do. So we'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.